Hey everybody, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a simple character in CrazyTalk Animator 2 from your own images via sprite replacement. So let's go ahead and add in our dummy character first. We're in the Actor tab, we'll go over to Character here, and we'll just add in Mr. Dummy right here. So let's double click him, bring him into our scene. As you can see, he came into this stage completely naked in his birthday suit. What we're going to do is we're going to replace all of his sprites with different sprites. So let's go over to our character composer here on the top left. And once we do that, you'll see our character with a starfish position right here. What I want to do is explain a little bit about these yellow things that are inside his body right now. Those are called bones. And what these do is they dictate where the character's mesh or where the character's sprites will move. So for example, if I select this right arm, upper right arm here, I can just rotate that around. You can see how my character's body will react right there. He's a very flexible dude. I can do the same thing for the upper torso, for example, or this is his lower torso we have selected here. Select the upper torso there, and you can see he can move from side to side like that. Notice that all of the bones are rotating upon this pivot point here, which is indicated by the circle right there. So that's going to be handy information in the future when we're placing our sprites in the correct position. So what we want to do first is we want to actually delete all of our sprites. We're going to totally get rid of his body. We're going to take away his body. So I can do that by selecting each individual sprite and just pressing the delete button. And that will delete the sprite from all individual angles. So as you may recall, G2 characters have 8 separate angles from the side, and as well as the top and bottom angle. Standard G2 characters do. Now you want to, in this character composer, if I'm deleting all of these sprites right here, it's going to be deleting those from all those specific angles. So right now we currently have 0 degree angle, and you can see I'm deleting all of my items. And once we're done with the legs and everything like that, I'll spin him around, and you can see that he won't have any sprites left. We'll keep one sprite. We'll keep his lower left leg, just so you can see what happens. You can see you have that one lower left leg here. It's taken away his whole body. So you can see all of his body is gone except for that lower left leg right there. So we're back in the 0 position right now. Now what I want to do is go into the sprite editor and replace all these body parts. Now if I'm replacing a sprite one at a time, I can select this lower leg here, for example, just to select his calf. And we can go to the sprite replace or sprite editor right here. And if I'm in the sprite editor, you can see I have that sprite right there, and every separate angle will have a sprite as well. Whereas if I go to we'll go to the upper leg here. That's the joint mask. We'll talk about that later. You can see if I have the upper or the left thigh here selected, then we have the empty slot right there. So let's go back to our lower leg right here, and we have that selected. Now if I wanted to delete this angle, I can do that by going here, and I can select delete. Now if I select delete when I'm in the sprite editor, it will only delete that particular angle. So I'll delete the angle for 0. However, I can also delete the pose by pressing Control and delete, and that will delete that sprite from all separate angles. So right here, let's just delete the angle and see what happens. So right now we're at 0 degrees and nothing's there, but you can see we're now at 45 degrees and we still have that sprite right there. So keep that in mind when you're deleting all the individual parts. We'll just select that lower leg one more time, and now we can go here and we can delete pose. You can see the delete angle is disabled now. So now we can delete the pose, and all of those will be gone. So the next step to getting your character to fruition is replacing all the sprites. So you can do this if you're in the scene manager. You can select individual body parts, then switch over to the sprite editor, and you can just go ahead and replace the current sprite. So we're at the upper right arm here, so I'm going to select this arm right, and we're not going to worry about positioning these sprites right now. We're going to do that momentarily. You can also select items from the scene right here. Currently I'm selecting the joint masks. Those sometimes get in the way, so you can select this right forearm. Let's import in that arm. This guy's going to have asparagus for arms here. We'll select the hand there as well. Sprite editor, and you can see the hand has different gestures which we can replace. Currently we're just going to be using the empty one though, and his hands are going to be peppers, so he's not going to have any fingers and therefore not really any gestures either. So we'll just go ahead with the other side as well. We'll replace the sprite. This one is the left arm. Select that. And I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward this through this for you here so we can get on to more important things. So you can see I'm just replacing all the different sprites for the different body parts. And once I'm done that, then we're going to go about positioning them. So you can see I'm selecting the upper body right here. The upper body is going to be actually a potato. So we'll select our upper potato right there, and it's going to center around the pivot point. Now in the scene manager we can select our lower body, and the sprite editor here we're going to select this circle potato cutout for our lower body, and like I mentioned we'll position that later. Let's select our thighs here, and for the thighs we're just going to be using the same thing. We're going to be using the little pieces of asparagus there. We'll select thigh, replace that with our sprite there. I'm just going to fast forward through the legs here because the legs are essentially the same as the arms. All the body parts are very similar actually here. We're just kind of replacing individual sprites, and we'll get around to positioning those later on here. Also down here you can see with the left lower leg, as you can recall, I deleted that in the sprite editor and it gave me the option to replace all of the different sprites. I'm just selecting no, and you can see now that it asks me to name the pose, so we can just call it pose. It doesn't really matter what we call it, and I've only copied that to the specific angle, so that essentially does the same thing as I did for the other sprites as well. Now last things last, let's go down to the feet, replace those feet as well, and there we go. The right foot is the last one to go, and we'll just replace that with this foot sprite right here. Okay, so now all of our sprites are taken care of. We have this character with all these sprites replaced. Now what we want to do is we want to scale and position those sprites according to where the bones are in my character's body. So let's go ahead and start with the upper body here. Now it's important that you remember to put the sprite so it kind of stretches from one pivot point to the next. Otherwise you're going to have blank spots in your character's joint rotation. So I'm going to kind of place that little edge there around the pivot point for the upper arm there. We'll select the lower arm. We'll do the same thing, just kind of stretch out the sprite. Now make sure that the selection box is green, because that indicates you're doing sprite editing. If the selection box here is blue, then you don't really want to fool around with that until later, until you actually have your sprites repositioned properly, and then you can adjust the size and everything of the bones. But it's recommended that you first of all go ahead and change the size and position of your sprites first before moving on to the bones, just so you're kind of conforming to the original specs here for this dummy character, and then we'll get on to moving around the bones to for characters who are short and have long arms, short arms, everything like that. Just make sure that everything, like I mentioned before, the rotation point are those little spheres. So where your arms and legs rotate are going to depend on where you position those spheres. For the upper body here, I'm going to move that so it's kind of just the bottom part is right on that upper body rotation there. The lower body is this kind of circular potato area right here. We can select that from the scene manager, and you can see that the lower body, maybe I want to raise that up a little bit to about there, just so it's kind of hiding behind that upper body, since we don't really need to see that. He just has a single potato for the body, but the lower body sprite is going to act as the character root. And so we'll just move on quickly to the legs now and stretch those ones out. We can scale them a bit larger, since thighs are normally a bit bigger than arms. And if you want to make this stuff universal, when you're scaling it out, pay attention to the values on the top here. You can see, for example, I'm just kind of spitballing this, but you can see, for example, here the value with 195.4, 195.4, and for this one 199. So pretty close. If you want to keep it exactly the same, you can do that as well. I'm not too concerned at this point. We're just kind of showing you the steps to go through to get your character taken care of get it all set up for to be animated in Crazy Talk Animator. So we're in our last steps here with the shins, just kind of stretching those ones out, and we'll rotate the feet to make sure the rotation point is where you want it to be. And these are kind of 0 degree facing feet, and they can also double as 45 degrees and 315 degrees. Okay, so all of our sprites have kind of been fairly well positioned, and we're good to go. Now what I want to do is exit out of the sprite editor. So we're in the sprite editor, just close that down. And then what I want to do is position all of my bones correctly. So let's go ahead and select this left arm, for example. We'll bring that down here. You can see that little circle there. That's actually the joint mask. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. We'll just do the same thing for the right arm first. Bring that down right here. And we're good to go. And for the thighs, we'll just bring those up a little bit into the character's lower body there. And if you wanted to resize these, now make sure that you resize from the top point of the hierarchy. So for example, if I wanted to resize the arm, I'm going to select the upper arm. You can see in the hierarchy here, the forearm and the hand are the children of this upper arm. So you want to scale that down so all the other ones scale down as well. Maybe we'll scale this down to about 107 right there. Like I mentioned, it's always good to pay attention to those values just so you have a kind of ballpark figure to scale your other side to. You can also mirror it as well. So if I select, my right thigh here and I scale that, then all of my body parts will scale the same as well on both sides. So you don't really have to do them individually. You can mirror this as well. We'll kind of give this guy a little bit of a shorter legs. That looks nice and cute. Okay, so he's all set up to go. Now what I need to do is I need to select each individual sprite, and I need to copy that angle information and the transform sprite information to the other angles as well. So you can see at 0 degrees we look like this. Let's bring this guy's neck down a little bit too, because he looks like a disembodied kind of weirdo. At least now he has a potato body. It looks even more weird. But anyways, like I was saying, let's go to the 45 degrees, and you can see nothing's there. What happened? Nothing is there. Nothing is there as well. What we need to do is we need to copy the sprite information from this angle to the other ones as well. So let's go ahead, select the upper body to start, for example, and we'll go one more time into our sprite editor. Now in the sprite editor, you have the option here of going over to the full angle settings tool right here. So let's select that, and because I deleted everything earlier, you'll notice that he currently has no angle settings for, no sprites for any of the other profiles here. So what I need to do is I need to select copy similar and use my eyedrop tool to 0 degrees to 45 degrees. We'll do the same thing for 315 degrees. And now when I move to 45 degrees, you can see the upper body maintains its position right there according to the where the bone is. All right, so let's go ahead and do the same thing for the other sprites in my character. Upper arm right there. We'll copy similar from 0 to 45, copy similar from 0 to 315. And do the same thing for the lower arm. Copy similar from 0 to 45. Copy similar from 0 to 315. And like I mentioned, we're just going to be having a 3-angle character, just for simplicity's sake in this tutorial. You can do the same thing for all the other angles. However, with many of the other angles, such as the side angle, obviously you may want for certain characters, you may want your body or something to be different, completely different sprites. Sometimes resizing and repositioning the sprites will be enough, but sometimes you'll want completely different sprites. In most cases, this might be okay for some, rotund or round characters. His body will probably look the same from any angle, but it really depends. And you can often use the same sprite for different angles, but sometimes you'll need to create new sprites. So it's always good. You can check out our white paper as well. If you have the pipeline version of Crazy Talk Animator, we have a white paper that gives you documentation on all the different specs that you need to create a fully functional 8-degree or 10 angle character, I should say, including the top and the bottom. So we're just finishing up here. And we need to also select the lower body. So the lower body is currently not visible to us, so we'll select it from the scene manager, sprite editor, We only have the lower body there. Let's copy that information. From 0 to 45, 0 to 315. Alright, so there you can see that if we zoom out now, we have our character fully prepared at 0 degrees. If we go to 45 degrees though, we may have missed the left arm there. So you can see now that the left arm is out of place, and the transform positions of the bones also need to be adjusted as well. So let's go ahead and select the lower arm here on the left side. There we go. And let's see, yeah, we did miss that, so copy 0 to 45, copy 0 to 315, and whoops, we'll go to the hand as well. Copy 0 to 45, copy 0 to 315, and maybe we have the upper arm. Oh, upper arm's okay, so now we should have a fully set profile. So you can see that, yep, all the sprites are replaced anyways. Now at 45 degrees, I just need to quickly adjust the transform positions of these bones. So again, we'll go out of the sprite editor right now. We don't need to be in the sprite editor since all the sprites have been replaced. And like I mentioned before, the blue box have mirror selected here, so we'll just kind of raise that up to about there. And if you're picky, you can always pay attention to the Y transform value. You can see we have it at 82 right here. And let's select those arms. We're going to mirror those, bring those down to about 113. And the neck, we'll bring that down as well. And there we go. So now we're at 0 degrees, 45 degrees. Looks good. Now let's do the same thing for the 315 degrees. Just bring those thighs up a little bit. And I think the arms were at 113 or something. There we go. That should be fine right there. And we'll just go ahead and bring that neck back down right there. Okay, so our three-angle profile character has all been set up. Now what I need to do is make sure that those joint masks are all fixed up as well. So let's go over to a joint mask here, and you can see I can select from this reference image on the right. Depending on where I want my joint masks to be, I can set that up. So you can see here the original shoulder position is kind of a little bit far from where our current shoulder is, so we'll just kind of move that down, rotate that over there. Do the same thing for the right upper arm. Since it's nowhere near where we want it to be, we can just move it over there. This character doesn't really need joint masks though, as you'll see in just a moment. You can select all of the other body parts. You can check out our tutorial on the Runtime Composer for more about joint masks. These ones seem to be generally where they should be. You can see the bottom neck one should be a little bit lower, however. We'll bring that down to where it's supposed to be. Make sure that the lower body ones are generally in place. Normally you'd want these a little bit smaller, but we won't deal too much with joint masks in this tutorial. Okay, so we're pretty good to go. Let's go ahead and exit the character composer now. So if I go back to the stage, you can see we have our character just standing there. Let's go ahead and apply an animation to our character. In the Content Manager, we'll go to Animation, and we're going to select a 2D motion. We'll select a Move Motion, and let's just choose a normal male walk, wherever it is. There we go. 0 degrees, since we have the 0 degree profile. And you can see there's our character walking along. We can press F3, select Object Related Track. We'll open our 2D motion track and just kind of click and drag that to loop it a few times so we can get a better look at what our character looks like when he's walking. So here's our custom character walking along. Now you can see that it may look a little bit strange sometimes with the character, his legs kind of just popping out like that. It really depends on what you want to do. If you wanted those legs to be, below the character's torso, we can do that as well using the Runtime Composer. So, also, in addition to that, we can also change the position of our arms so they're a little bit further out. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go into our Runtime Composer. Like I said before, we have a Runtime Composer tutorial. So we have our sprites here, our bones. We can choose our bones and adjust the position of those. So this is at, of course, 0 degrees. So keep that in mind that you also may need to change the transform positions for all the other angles as well. Let's go ahead and maybe move these arms out a little bit, kind of widen them out, something like that. And I'll do the same thing for the upper arm on the right-hand side. And let's take away the bones here since we don't really need to see the bones. Let's take a look at how that changed our animation right there. go ahead and play that back. Now you can see that that looks a little bit better, almost like his arms are kind of off the side of his body, except for the left arm there. You'll notice that the left arm, we maybe need to move that out a little bit more. This is kind of hiding behind the body right there, in this case, right about there. And that should be good. Let's try that right there. And there we are. No joint mask interference. You can see those lower legs there, or the upper legs rather, on the bottom. Maybe that's not. Maybe for the entire animation we want those to be below the torso. So in that case, if we wanted to do that, we don't really have an option to adjust the layers in real time here. We have our sprites and our joint mask, everything like that. But if we want to adjust the layers, we'll have to do that using our animation tool. So let's close down the Runtime Composer. And in our layer tool right here, let's open that up. And let's select our character's leg. We can select his thigh right there. And then we can just kind of move his thigh behind his midsection there, his hip. We can do the same thing with the other one. Just take his thigh, put that behind his hip. Let's take a look at what happens there. You can see now we have a pretty good walk. Our character's just walking along. When you see a little bit of flash, we maybe need to select his thigh and put that behind his upper body as well. Select his thigh and put it behind his upper body, because at certain angles that may be coming through. And there we go. Now we have our completed character walk. So we're good to go. That's basically how you put together your character with 3 separate angles. Really simple. And you can make further adjustments in the Runtime Composer and with separate animation tools as well, depending on the motion you want. It's not very often you're going to get perfect results right out of the Composer, so that's very useful to know. Go into the Runtime Composer and do modifications. So that's about it for putting together the simple body. 3 angle profiles of a simple character via sprite replacement using your own images at home. In our next tutorial, we're going to talk about how you can replace the face, which is very similar as well.